What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Morgan Thomas Show. Tonight, we have a great show for you.
That's right. Tonight, we'll give you our recap of week one, including the Tigers swatting the Jackets, and we will grade each position group.
Yeah, and we're going to give you our picks against the spread for week two coming up this weekend and go over the big game this weekend between your Clemson Tigers and the Texas A&M Aggies. We're excited for it. Hope you can join us tonight. Get ready because it's going to be a good one. Let's load the buses, Tiger fans. We are live. What's up, everybody? It's September 4th, episode number 35. We're excited to have you. I know people are saying, man, what's going on with Morgan over here with the headphones? Well, I'm trying to reduce some of our noise, some of our echo that we had, trying to also improve some of the sound for you and the quality. So hope you enjoy that. We tried to go to our intro video, but somebody's hijacked our intro video. I'm wondering if our intro video has a broken foot tonight and can't make it to the game. But as always, it's the Morgan Thomas Show, and I'm your host and producer, Morgan Thomas. Joining me is my co-host and good friend, Big Al, Alan Adams. Welcome to the show, Big Al.
I appreciate you having me, man. And for those of you that want to know the real reason he's wearing headphones, he's a Star Wars fan and wanted to know what it was like to be Princess Leia tonight.
Oh, right. Wow. Yeah, I like the little bun curls around the ears, so I like it. The intro, Rob White over on YouTube says the intro needs to get hydrated. And we'll get more into that. We'll get more into that. You know, it's letting us down, but we're not going to let that stop us. You know, technical difficulties do not stop this show, as you guys know. We're going to make it happen no matter what. But we got a great show. We got a lot of people jumping in. We got about 7 people over on YouTube. So if you don't mind, give us a share over on YouTube. Let your friends know in your social media networks that we're live right now. Alan's trying to share over on Facebook. If you're watching Facebook, give us a share. How many people we got over there on Facebook, Al?
Right now, it's looking like we got about 13 rolling in here. Got some usuals here. Got Kevron joining us, and my mom and Dodie. Evan Fields is with us. Dad, of course, is in. My wife is in, and our man Nick Cullen's watching. So those are the names that I see. It says we got about 16, but those are the ones that I see on my list.
Ooh, man, 16. You guys over on YouTube going to have to step it up. They got about double what you got over there. So, yeah, like I said, Clemson Carson, Prince 6'1" over on the show. Gray Thompson, love you over on Twitter, man. Thanks for the shout out. Pigskin Pete, thanks for joining us tonight. Hey, I hope you like the mic. I got this mic based off of Pigskin Pete's suggestion. So we're giving it a test. Alan's got one type of mic. I've got another type of mic. You know, we're experimenting. We're scientists over here in the college football talk show world. So hope you are enjoying the show. A lot of stuff for you tonight, and we're going to do something fun too. Going to be a little bit longer of a show because we're going to do live calls. You heard it from me first. We're going to do live calls tonight. We're going to try to get this working. So no crazies, no Gamecocks. Well, actually, I would prefer Gamecocks this week. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So come on, bring it on. But we're going to talk about Clemson versus Georgia Tech. Going to give you a recap there. Going to give you the week one position grades. This was Alan's idea. I think it's a great idea. We're going to give you our picks against the spread for week 2, and then Clemson versus Texas A&M to kind of wrap it all up. But as always, the show is brought to you by Black's Tire Inc., family owned and operated since 1971. If you need new tires, brakes, alignments, tire repair, or just looking for a friendly professional to help answer your questions, give them a call, 864-647-9292. Give them a shout over on our Facebook page. We have the website up there, and then they're located 1415 East Main Street in Westminster. Just go past the stadium, take a left, go down to Seneca, and keep on going to Westminster, and you'll see it there on the right. Not too bad there. But again, we're excited to have you on the show and appreciate everybody giving us the support. This is the second week of college football, and man, last week, Alan, was a very exciting week, my man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's a lot to come out of last weekend, a lot of crazy things that happened for sure. We'll talk about a couple of those, I guess, tonight, but it was a great week one. I mean, your star for college football for a long time, and it finally got here, and it did not disappoint.
And if you haven't checked out our friend Ellis Tolbert, who's on the show a lot, he had a podcast come out on Monday, 4th and 16 podcast. Go check it out. But Al, let's get started over on our first topic of the night.
Do it.
And that is the Clemson versus Georgia Tech recap. And before we get into it, I want you to know, you see the call in now at the top of the screen. I hope you see that. Basically, it's our number 864-772-MORG. So call into the morgue. And join us tonight. It's we got a couple of lines where you can be on hold, so call in, and if you come in, and we'll bring you on in between topics. All right, but we're going to start our topic off tonight: Clemson versus Georgia Tech recap. Al, I'm curious. You were there at the game, and you give me a lot of flack for not being at the game. So,
of course,
how did you feel about the game? How did you feel about the pregame ceremony, like we talked about? And just tell me your thoughts going into that game or coming out of that game.
Well, the pregame ceremony was good. Obviously, anytime you're celebrating a national championship, it's a good deal. They actually unveiled the signage a little too early, and they had to drop it back down and redo it. I think some of I don't know if it was students or staff members that were pulling it up at the upper deck. It was kind of funny. Great crowd. I've been giving the crowd a lot of flack for several years now. The hill's never full. The student section's pretty weak. It was a fantastic crowd. The corners were full. I mean, it was. I haven't seen a crowd like that in years, even for the big games. Now, I will say this. I thought the crowd was pretty quiet overall, even at the beginning of the game when it was still in doubt. But as far as numbers were concerned, they did a great job for sure. I don't know what y'all saw on TV or how it sounded on TV, but I was unimpressed with the level of volume for sure, but the sheer quantity was great. I mean, a lot to think about and a lot to talk about as far as the games. We'll get into our positive and negative reactions and stuff like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, ho-hum, what was it, 52-14 game? Nothing real special. Didn't see a lot. Georgia Tech didn't really know what to expect. And as a matter of fact, I couldn't believe they ran the things that they ran. Like you said, they kind of ran the option out of the spread formation.
Yeah.
That may have some to do with, kind of not realizing exactly where they were supposed to be or, being in the right place. Might have confused the defense a little bit. But end of the day, when you give up 14 points, that's a pretty good night.
I'm agreeing with some of the guys over on YouTube saying that it looked crazy on TV. When I saw it, I was like, man, that crowd is packed. Stadium's packed. The crowd is loud and ready and rocking. So it seemed like the crowd was into it, and it's kind of surprising to me to hear that from you. But obviously, it was a game that Clemson was projected to just blow out from the start anyways, and it ended up being a blowout. Little things to work on. We saw some things. It wasn't a perfect game by any means, but it's kind of hard to nitpick at 52-14, right? So, but what we can do is nitpick, and that's what we're here to do, is kind of talk about it. I broke it down between 3 strengths and 3 opportunities. For me, the strengths, just to kind of start you off, is Travis Etienne. I mean, we talked about him going into the game. We talked about going into the season. I said that I really hoped that he would start his Heisman campaign off, on the right foot. And man, he did that. 12 carries, 205 yards, 17.1 yards averaged, and a 90-yarder that would tied one of the school records. So Travis Etienne, man, have yourself a day, boy, and you did it. He needed, in our statistics, we look back at a couple of our videos, he needed about 167 yards per carry per game. I mean, not per carry, but per game. And it'd be awesome if it was per carry, right? But 167 yards per game. And he did that. He blew that out of the water with 205. So he's right around now. The average is about 163 for the next 11 games. If he does that, then he'll be over 2,000 yards, and I think he'll be able to compete with the quarterbacks. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle whenever it's the Heisman race. The running backs just do not seem to be that marquee or that showcase position. It's always the quarterbacks, right? That always get all the love. So I had Travis down as one. I think he's doing great, getting it started. Isaiah Simmons, man, let me tell you something. If you think that you're going to run the ball to the outside, Al, you better have something else coming, because he is going to get there. He's going to get there quick, and he is going to put you in the ground very quickly. Isaiah Simmons starting his first-round draft pick for the NFL bid off perfectly this year. I love him. He is amazing. He is just all over the field, and you're going to see him a lot, I believe, this weekend as well. And then the big surprise of the night, Tyler Davis getting the start in the middle of the defense and did pretty well. Got some opportunities there, like with a lot of players on the team, even veterans players. But, man, he did really well. He knows how to use his body. And I even noticed towards the end of the game, Al, they were double teaming him. So it was kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a lot of the same positives. I did have one different than you did. First of all, I'll start off with Etienne as well. A little addition by subtraction at running back. You get rid of Feaster. Lynn J. Dixon moves up. You'd want to talk about explosive. This is a backup running back. This kid is crazy explosive. He cut really well, saw the field well. I mean, this guy's going to be, as good as Etienne going forward. I feel quite sure. A lot of people, kind of down on him. When he got to Clemson, he was a 3-star recruit. Nobody really, thought he was going to be that best player. But, man, he's really, really proving people wrong, and I hope he continues to do so. And after seeing him the other night, I have no doubts that he will. Isaiah Simmons, that was my number 2 as well. He is an absolute beast. He is a monster. He can get all over the field. He's really fast. He's really tall. He's really long. Like you said, don't run on the outside. It's not going to work very well. I think he's going to hear his name called way up in the draft. He had a great night against Georgia Tech. I have no doubt he'll bring the same kind of tenacity against Texas A&M, and he'll need to because A&M is going to be a little bit better offense, I'm sure. My third was actually a little bit different. I was thinking about the 52-yard field goal, 51-yard field goal, I believe it was, something like that. Who saw that coming? It's an inconsistent kicking game. It has been for quite a while, but drilled it. I mean, probably would have been good from 60. He looked great on that. I was very proud to see that. You may need that, maybe next week. Hopefully not, but we'll definitely need that come playoff time. If he wants to hit a 52-yarder, I'll say thank you every single time.
I know some people were complaining that it wasn't straight enough. It wasn't in the middle enough. And, that's a good problem to have from 51 yards, that it wasn't in the middle enough. It was a little bit to the right or to the left. But, that's exciting to see from BT Potter there. I think the kicking game has always kind of been, what's going to happen this year? Clemson's got more consistent. It used to be the offensive line. Remember, it's like, what's the offensive line going to do this year? Oh, boy. But now the offensive line is so stacked. They got a rotation of about 10 guys and no problem there. But the kicking game is one of those things. We thought Aiden Swanson was going to kind of compete for the punter. Not really. It seems like Spires has got it right now. BT Potter, we didn't know about his field goal game. We knew his kickoff game was awesome. Touchbacks left and right, no problem. But we didn't really know about his kicking game. And, man, 51-yarder really shows up and shows out at the beginning of the season. So we look forward to that. As far as opportunities, and don't beat us up because there's not a lot of opportunities when you score 52 and you play 90 players. But obviously, I think the elephant in the room, I guess you could say, I don't know, but the glaring problem with that game was that Trevor Lawrence threw 2 interceptions. One of them was kind of a lazy at the end of the halftime, so I really don't beat him up for that. But the first one was definitely he got tricked, and it was almost a pick 6. So it was a little bit not what you want to see from your big time quarterback who just won a national championship. I think we all wanted him to come out and be like the Oregon quarterback who just seemed to throw it all over the game for the first quarter, but and let us down there, Al, over in Oregon. But I think we all wanted him to just aerate it out to all the big-time wide receivers. We wanted Justin Ross to just start right where he left off and Trevor Lawrence to start right where he left off, but it didn't really happen. And Justin Ross was kind of non-existent. 3 receptions, 13 yards with one that was 10 yards. Yeah. So, 1 for 10 and the other 2 for 3. So it really wasn't a good showing for him. And then the defense seemed to over-pursue sometimes. I don't know if they were really ready for a spread option. And so there was a lot of times where Oliver would pretend to go, fake to go one way, and Davis or Henry would basically commit to that, and he would blow right by him. There was a tackle or a part where I remember Oliver just juked A.J. Terrell out of his shoes on one play. And so there was a few things there. That's something I know I was a little bit disappointed in Skalski. He over-pursued on a couple of plays, so I was kind of concerned with that. But, man, Chad Smith did exactly what you wanted him to do, I think. And like I said, I think overall we're just nitpicking, really. But there are some places where I think they can improve.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I have a few negatives that I took away from the game was missed tackles. I thought that the defensive tackles and the linebackers missed several opportunities to make plays in the backfield or for no gain and ended up getting positive yardage, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards even at times. So that was pretty disappointing. I'm hoping that was just kind of first game jitters kind of deal, that they'll be able to clean that up. I have no doubt that they will. Venables has always had a pretty good tackling team. So I'm sure they'll get that, kind of out of their system and be ready to roll the Aggies and wrap them up real good for sure. So penalties on the offensive line. All right, we had several penalties on the offensive line. John Simpson had a couple himself. Other than that, they did a great job, but that was a negative. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that can really kill a drive in a heartbeat. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure John Simpson got taken out for his penalties. So, kind of send a message there that, that's unacceptable, especially if somebody of the caliber of John Simpson anyways. He's better than that for sure. And I'm sure they'll get that cleaned up. My third one was wide receivers. Like you said, non-existent for the most part, except for T. Higgins, that one big catch. I know Frank Lazen had that long one near the end of the game, but they just got no separation. I don't know whether it's a combination of the play calling being a little bland, just kind of not wanting to show anything, not taking shots across the middle, but maybe Georgia Tech's DBs are just that good. Maybe they just had a good night. I'm not really sure what to think of it, but when you have the receivers we have and the talent that we always talk about and how they're head and shoulders above everybody, they should be getting open and wide open, to say the least, but they were getting nothing against the Georgia Tech DBs that night.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, Timothy Lee's beating us up over this. He says it's the first game. We know it's the first game, and we're not trying to beat him up by any means, but we're looking at strengths and opportunities in the first game of the season. And we know there's going to be, things that are not perfect in the first game. We know there are going to be things that aren't perfect in the 12th game and the 15th game. And so, but the good thing about Clemson is the things that don't work out for them, they have a running back group that can go and knock off over 400 yards on you. So that's what I put in on Twitter is, we've got wide receiver U that just ran 400 yards on you, so go check us out. We're big time Clemson supporters, so we're not ragging on them by any means, trying to beat them up by any means. We're trying to obviously just look at what that game as a whole. But again, like I said, to have a team that has so many wide receiver targets and options to go to, it did seem like it was very bland. I think they were kind of trying to hold some things for this week. I think we're going to see more of an opened up playbook this week. It seemed like there were a lot of short passes. I even noticed, I don't know if you noticed this at the game, but there was a short pass, I believe, to Higgins back to back, and Dabo Sweeney just chewed out Trevor Lawrence for something. And then they came out in like a 4 wide receiver set or a 5 wide receiver set, and everybody went deep. And I'm wondering if Dabo was like, we need to throw the ball long, guys. We need to stop throwing these short passes and playing it safe. Well, they went deep. Well, guess what? Trevor Lawrence just ducked and ran for like 12 yards for the first down. So it's like you ran everybody deep, but Trevor can still beat you with his legs. So there's just so many different ways that Clemson can beat you. It's really scary. And I know it's getting closer to that Texas A&M game, so I'm starting to see a lot of YouTubers come in and comment on our Texas A&M predictions we did over the offseason. And, they got news coming to them. Let's just say that at the least. I think a lot of them think that there's going to be a competition. But I think our boys in orange are going to, do very well this weekend. I have a lot of confidence in them. Let's check out the chat. What you got over there on Facebook, Al? You got any movement?
I got nothing as far as chat's concerned. We got some new people join us. I saw Trey Carter. It's good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining us. I saw Allison Baum get in. Mark Childress and your lovely wife joined us, and Cody Hudson I saw jumped in on board as well. So we appreciate all the support there. But I got nothing as far as the chat. I do like the call in now thing that you got scrolling across the top. Just noticed that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, well, nobody's called in yet. I don't see any callers on the line, so it's open line. So just jump in, 864-772-MORG. That's 6674. So I tried the morgue. I tried, the morgue, but it didn't. It was taken, I guess. So somebody else has the morgue. But so you're calling into the morgue, but we're not. We're only killing opponents, But I noticed Prince 6'1" saying that one thing that I've learned is to trust the coaching staff. Man, I mean, if they haven't earned that, that's for sure. I know kind of over the years, if you've started with Clemson, maybe if you joined Clemson early, recently, you probably don't have that feeling. But when you're like us and you've been watching Clemson for so long, it's kind of been hard to just get over that hump of, okay, I can trust Dabo. I think you can get to Dabo, but then it was like, can I trust Venables? He blitzes too much, And then it was like, well, Tony Elliott, he's just too quiet, So there's all these little things that you're like, can I trust him? But I think now you can definitely trust him. And we've talked about this in a lot of our past videos. This looks like a team, and I believe even Colin Cowherd said this recently. This looks like a team that could be really, really dominant for 10 years. Which is, I mean, who can say that? We're so blessed to be able to say that as Clemson fans. So it's an exciting time to be a Clemson fan, but even better when you know where we came from.
Right.
Let's check it out over on segment number 2. Let's jump over to segment number 2, Al. Since we don't have anybody in the call, so we'll just jump over and keep it rolling.
Let's do it.
This one is Clemson Week 1 position grade. So this is something that you kind of thought of, and I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of a cool thing to grade each position group. We'll start with the offense. Like I said, I kind of gave each of them a grade and just kind of a one sentence hit as far as why my justification for that grade. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence didn't have a good night. All right, he telegraphed a few of his passes. Made a couple of downright bad decisions. I gave him the C plus actually for his grade. That's the last time I expect him to be anywhere C or below for this entire season. I'm hoping he's definitely in the A range next week. I gave him the plus simply on the fact that he ran the dude down and belted him out of bounds right before they got to the goal line. Okay, so that earned a plus from me. I'm going to go through all my offense, and then I'm going to let you go through all your offense if you're good with that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Running back, I gave him an A. Etienne, Heisman campaign type of night. Okay, he killed it. Lynn J. Dixon provided some fireworks of his own. Like I said, he's an explosive guy. Can't wait to see more of him in the future for sure. Gave him an A instead of an A plus simply based off the fact that there was a fumble. So I had to knock him down just a little bit for that. Wide receivers, all right, I gave him a B minus. Higgins made a great play on an underthrown ball by Trevor Lawrence to get that, big touchdown, that long touchdown. But again, the unit struggled all night getting separation like I spoke about before. So I gave them a B minus. Again, I don't expect them to really be there again this season. You would never expect them to be there at all with this group. Offensive line. All right, I gave them an A minus. All right, the only reason they were downgraded from an A to an A minus is because of the penalties. Like we said, that's something they can clean up. That's something I'm not really worried about. I don't think this group, especially not a group coached, by Dabo and company, is going to be undisciplined. I feel like they're gonna be able to clean those little penalties up here and there, and it's not going to be drive killers in the future. So, but other than that, they dominated. Obviously, when you get 400 yards on the ground, your offensive line's doing something right. So, tight end was the last position. I gave tight end a C. They were kind of relatively non-existent. Kind of like we assumed they might be. Chalk had a catch. Lay had a pretty good catch over the middle for sure. Chalk missed a few of his opportunities. As far as blocking was concerned, he might have had a good night overall, but I saw one or two plays in particular where he kind of whiffed on his blocks and it might have blown the play up. But I'm sure he'll get that. We know he's not a big-time downfield threat, so when you're not a downfield threat, you ought to be blocking somebody. So I'm sure he'll clean those things up as well, and he'll do well moving forward, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like those so far. So let me give you my rundown real quick. A little bit different, some of the same things, but and I didn't do plus and minuses. You didn't tell me to. I go to the basic grade. I'm like elementary school here. I should have just gave like whatever E is. Don't they give like E right now, or special or exceptional, whatever you are now. You're not an A student. You're an E student.
That's right.
And that kind of just throws me off. But and you get your grades by text message now. Man, I'm glad that I didn't have that when I was a kid because, you can't throw away a text message.
That's right.
But Trevor Lawrence, obviously you said 2 interceptions. It's hard because his expectations, our expectations of him are so high.
Yep.
And we're not grading Kelly Bryant. We're not grading Jake Bentley. We're not grading, any of these other guys. We're grading the national championship quarterback, and I gave him a C as well. I think he knows he can do better than 2 interceptions. He knows he can do better than just trying to chuck it downfield while jumping sideways at half. He knows that he can do better than being tricked by Georgia Tech's cornerbacks. Come on. It's one of those things I think they were just very vanilla, and maybe the playbook hurt him, but I know he's going to rebound, so I gave him that. It's just the first test of the season. All right. So we got a lot more tests to go. Running backs. I think if, your running backs do what they do, Travis Etienne ran for over 200 yards. And then I felt like each running back brings something so unique. You've got Lynn J. Dixon, who is beefed up, but is still very quick. Travis Etienne, who's your Heisman level running back. And then you've got Ches Malusi, who is just like a pounder, kind of like, old school guys, like just running up the middle. And then you've got your Dukes, who just goes and jukes everybody out of their shoes, which if you watch some of our previous video on Dukes, check it out because his high school video, that's all he did was just juke everybody. I said that he had like 105 on Madden in the juke ability. So the guy can just juke anyone. I'm surprised he's not doing more in the kicking game, at least maybe not right now, but eventually he will be. I guarantee you that. Wide receivers, I gave a B simply because they didn't get a lot of opportunities. It seemed like until later on in the game, it seemed like the opportunities they had were very limited. And so, like I said, when you have Travis or Justin Ross, who doesn't really do much, it's kind of disappointing there. But man, I think there was like a good 300 people who, or not 300, but there were a good 14 or 15 people who ended up getting a reception, which is crazy to say. But I had something buzz in my ear. I don't know what that was. But anyway, so the offensive line, I gave an A because I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but Jackson Carman like laid out, pancake two dudes on one of the plays, and I thought that was amazing. So excited to see that. Excited for the offensive line. Excited for the running back game. Is exactly what I wanted. Tight end, I really didn't know how to grade this because I'm not really that educated on grading a tight end, but Jalen Lay had a big time catch. It almost seemed like he bobbled it until he fell and caught it. Yeah. But so I'm still kind of iffy on Jalen Lay's catching ability, but he got a one catch for 20 yards, and then Chalk got a catch as well. So I think they did what they needed to do. They didn't hurt the team at all, I don't believe. So I think I gave them a B there. So that rounds out me for the offense. Let us know what you think in the comments over on YouTube and over on Facebook. How many of you got on Facebook? I got 32 people watching over on YouTube. So welcome to the show. Let us know who you are. Let us know where you're from, and give us some questions over in the YouTube chat, and we'll answer them.
Wow, I'm a little disappointed. My Facebook's letting me down. We got about 18, 19 over here. We had full over 20 before. I saw Lee Brackett join us. Lee, it's good to have you with us. I'm still deciding whether I'm going to text you back or not from today. I do appreciate you getting with me. But yeah, I mean, let's go to the defense. All right. We talked about the offense. Let's go to the defense. Let's grade them. Okay. I saw that, so you grade the defensive line as a whole, right?
Yeah, I just did D-line as a whole, not ends or, tackles.
Well, you know what? It's good. I can combine mine as well because I gave them both Bs. All right. I saw that Xavier Thomas was really active. He made a couple of good plays for sure. He's going to get completely dominant when the coaches can get him to stop overrunning plays. Obviously, when you're that fast, you really like to get to the outside and get to the quarterback. And sometimes the quarterback sucks up in the middle and you've already lost the play. And I saw that happen with him a couple of times, but the other guys looked all right. And again, I mentioned the defensive tackles missed some tackles. But overall, I thought they had a pretty solid performance, especially Tyler Davis, like you said, freshman, getting the start. Looked really disruptive, so I was really proud of him. But overall, gave him a B. It's not too bad. Linebackers, again, we had a couple of missed tackles there, a couple of broken ankles I saw at times. So I wasn't super excited about what I saw there. Chad Smith actually played pretty well, but I did see him get his ankle broke a time or two. I'm looking to get more out of them, and they look a little more athletic than last year's bunch, like we were talking about here in the offseason. So I'm really excited to what they can bring. Again, I'm not going to beat anybody up over the first game. I get it. All right, we didn't know what to expect from Georgia Tech. I'm sure that caused a little misdirection, not knowing what to expect on defense. That's going to cause you to take some false steps, maybe miss a tackle or two, something like that. So I'm not really worried about that. I gave him a B+, and I gave him that plus based on Isaiah Simmons alone. We talked about Isaiah Simmons and how dominant he is. So he bumped him up to a plus there for me. Cornerback, they were untested, okay? Tech had no passing game. I think that was pretty obvious. They did, bust a long one at the end. But overall, they did what they needed to do. Obviously, they'll get tested much, much harder here in Texas A&M against Kellen Mond and all those guys and the Aggies coming in this weekend. So hopefully they'll do all right. But I gave them a B+, nothing too bad. Safeties. I actually gave the safeties C+. We have two senior safeties back there, and each of them, I'm pretty sure, had a bust, to cause a touchdown. So, Tanner Muse is a little bit known for that. He's kind of, gets caught up in the run a lot. That's happened last year against Bama. But you know what? They're seniors. They need to cut those mistakes out. I'm sure they will. Kayvon Wallace hadn't had a mistake like that, that I can remember. And he had one, I believe, a bust for a touchdown. But, they'll get that fixed next week, and they're going to need to for A&M.
You're starting to remind me of the game. I feel like I missed a few things, especially on the secondary there. So I'm gonna scratch out some of my answers that I gave you. But the D line, I felt like I gave a lot of grace and forgiveness on some of the missed tackles and some of the missed gaps or whatever I saw, especially some of the over pursuits that I saw. I felt, considering this defensive line is completely revamped, and the fact that you had some top tacklers in Henry, Thomas, Davis were some of your top tacklers for the team, and Pickney was doing really well. I was a little nervous about the team because they came out in like a 3-3-5, and I was like, what in the world is this? And then they came out in a 3-4, and then they came out in a 4-3, but it really wasn't a 4-3 because they made Thomas stand up, and then they let Thomas get down in the 3-point stance, but then they stood KJ Henry up. And then they did it with Foster too, and Foster kind of got burnt on one of the passing plays for standing up. He's probably not the best in coverage as far as the defensive line goes, but I did like KJ Henry standing up, and I do like Xavier Thomas standing up. Those guys look like kind of hybrid giant linebackers. You know, they're not the Dexter Lawrences of the world. We don't have that anymore, and that's kind of shocking to see. We've been so used to that and so spoiled by the Dexter Lawrences and the Christian Wilkins of the world and the Cleveland Furls of the world that it's like, man, this team does not look the same. But it's a good thing. I think Brent Venables adjusted appropriately. It looks like a bunch of linebackers, really. And so I actually gave the defensive line an A. I thought they did really well for the first game out. I gave the linebackers, again, some grace on some of those missed tackles, with Isaiah Simmons being the leading tackler of the night, just playing all over the field, and Chad Smith making some really good, clean hits on players. And then Balin Spector and James Skalski were all in the top 5 of tackles for that game. I think that, I'm giving linebackers an A too. I think they did really well. They made some mistakes. Hey, I'm just giving out A's, man. You want to join? You want to get your GPA up? You come to Morgan's class. All right. But then I've got cornerback. I didn't really feel like they were tested enough to even give them a grade. I gave them a B. Because like I said, I'm just an easy teacher, and I'll let you pass. And then safety, I actually put a higher grade, and now I'm taking it back because I remember the pass with Kayvon Wallace. Are we going through this again, Kayvon? Where you're getting baited into coming in too close and then getting beat over the top. Is this another year of you doing this? And then the same thing with Tanner Muse. Is this another year of you doing this again? I'm a little bit worried about that, especially going into the Texas A&M game. We're going to talk about that more. I know you guys are chatting about the Texas A&M game and Kellen Mond doing the same thing to us. We're going to talk about that. Just hang tight. It's segment number 4, so don't leave us. But I'm going to give them a C as well. I'm going to downgrade that. They did have 2 interceptions, though, so you got to give them respect for that. And then Johnson, here's what I thought was really telling for this defense. Trevor throws the interception, stops on like the 2-yard line, and then they stop them. It looks like I'm like, okay, here's a team of linebackers. It's the red zone against a team that can run the ball. They're going to score, and they get an interception. I was like, yes, this is exactly what this kind of defense needs to be successful going in and start the season off correctly. So I'm excited for the defense. I think there's a lot of question marks that got kind of a little bit of answers there to see, okay, we can trust Chad Smith. Okay, we can trust Skalski. We can trust Simmons. We can definitely trust Tyler Davis. Like I said, towards the end of the game, Tyler Davis was getting double teamed. So it was really fun to see. Let us know who you thought was your most exciting player that you watched from Thursday night's game. I know it was a fun game, man. It seems like forever ago since they played. I don't like Thursdays and then waiting for a Saturday. I want to play every game every day. I just want to see more Clemson football. But let us know what you think in the comments. We've got 35 people over on YouTube. Man, YouTube is showing up and showing out tonight. Thank you so much for the support. Let your friends know about the show. Like the show, subscribe to the show, and share the show to your friends on your social media networks. Let them know that we're live right now and that we're talking Clemson football exclusively. ESPN quality show, but no SEC biased. Boom. Alan, who you got over on Facebook?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I think the headphones are a major turnoff for my Facebook users because they're dropping flies. We got about 12 of them hanging pretty strong over here, but nobody new to report, at least on my end. Go ahead. I was going to say I want to do our mid-show sponsor, if you don't mind me running in here.
Let's jump over to halftime real quick.
Yeah, let's jump to it. Heating Cooling Services, Inc. is our mid-show sponsor. They're family-owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating Cooling Services, Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and stay nice and cool in your home or business this summer, give Mark or Jason Trammell a call, 864-224-7655. Again, that's 864-224-7655. All right, they'll take good care of you. I do realize that, every week I say they'll take good care of you, and that's because I really mean it. All right, these guys, like I said, we've worked with them before. Morgan's gone to Black Star. I've had Heating Cooling Services come and work on my HVAC system. So they took really good care of us. All right, saved me a ton of money. They will take good care of you. Call Mark or Jason, either one of them, and they'll look after you for sure. That's kind of all I got over here. Like I said, I saw Corey Welch jump in over here. So it's good to see you, Corey. And Morgan Thomas, you decided to watch come halftime. That's good. I appreciate you jumping in.
I just wanted to see if Facebook was working or not, but man, they're killing you over there. My YouTube team is just tearing you up over here. But another big time announcement, if you didn't already see, but we are officially digital partners with The Roar. You'll be able to check out our latest episodes over on their website, www.theroar.radio. That's The Roar's radio show is on 105.5 in Greenville, Anderson, Clemson, and just recently added 97.5 and 1560 AM over in Spartanburg. So go check them out. It's the Clemson flagship station for all things Clemson athletics. So if you want to listen to the game instead of listening to the dudes on TV, you can listen to the game. Don Munson is broadcasting that every Clemson game. And then they also do baseball and basketball, all the other sports as well. So excited for that. But go over to the Roar's website and check out on it's like, you got just a little bit under the top. You'll see the Morgan Thomas Show. Click on it. There'll be one of our latest videos up there, and there'll be a place for you to comment. If you don't mind, go over there and comment, and let Ben Milstead and the gang over there, Deborah Jones and the gang over there, know how much you appreciate the show and appreciate them helping get the word out for the Morgan Thomas Show. We started very, very small back in December by myself, just trying to figure it out. And here we are. We just keep trying to make it better for you. So we appreciate the support and the support from viewers like you. We wouldn't do it. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. I wouldn't have done it without you. Started with 5 people live, and look at us now. So we're doing great. We hope to continue to bring you high quality videos every single week, and try to add more to it every single week. So if you have any suggestions, comments, complaints, or emotional outbursts, let us know. Give us a message over on Twitter at Clemson Morgan or at Clemson Allen, or give us a message over on Facebook or YouTube. We would appreciate it. Thanks everybody for the support. Let's jump over to our segment number 3, Al. This is college football week number 2, picks against the spread. And if you don't know, we did it last week. We're basically focusing only on ACC teams and then any top 25 versus top 25 teams. And we run through them. We let you know the teams that we're picking from, what the spread is, and then who we pick. Let's start it off, Al, with William and Mary at Virginia. It looks like, as last time I checked, the spread is off. Who you got?
Yep. The spread is off, meaning there is no spread. It's probably going to be a bloodbath is what they're thinking. I picked Virginia, of course, to win this game. I mean, Virginia looked pretty good week 1. We all thought they were going to be a pretty decent team this year, and it's William and Mary, let's just be honest. So I'm taking Virginia in this one.
Yeah, me too. I got Virginia, and we got Timothy Lee just subscribed over on YouTube. So be like Timothy Lee, and don't be like these Gamecock fans. Be like Timothy Lee and subscribe over on YouTube right now. Please do it. Give us some support. We're trying to get to that 1,000 so we can get Super Chat. I don't know what Super Chat is, but I know it's awesome and it's super. So let's get to that 1,000. We're almost at 500, and we're almost at 1,300 over on Facebook. So if you got Facebook, if you're a Facebooker, go like us and follow us over on Facebook as well. But I got Virginia. The next game up is Wake Forest at Rice. Wake, I feel like they did pretty good last week. Then they had a good offense going. It's kind of back and forth between Utah State. Wake is giving 18.5 points in this game. What you got?
18.5. I'm taking Wake Forest. Like you said, I thought they looked pretty good. Rice actually had a decent showing, at least against a pretty good Army team last week, but I think that was more of a fluke than anything else. I'm going to say Rice is kind of the bottom dweller we all thought they were, and Wake Forest is going to put it to them this weekend.
And I'm going with Wake Forest as well. Man, they had a pretty good game on the offense, and Rice just had a terrible game against Army. It wasn't a very high-scoring game. Wasn't a lot of yards put on the field there. And so Jamie Newman, I expect him to do well again and start off this season doing, off on the right foot for sure. So I've got Wake Forest as well. Marty Bruce is asking us over on YouTube. Our good friend Marty Bruce is asking us what was our college football pick'em results. Now, on our college football pick'em, we did not have the Clemson Georgia Tech game, but Alan, I won that one. If I believe I'm correct, right? I won the Clemson Georgia Tech pick because I picked them to beat the spread, right? So give me an extra one, right? So I'm going to rub that in your face the rest of the year. So you didn't trust in our team,
no problem.
But right now, Marty, I'm 18-7. And so if you add that 19-7, and Allen is 16-9 or 16-10. So obviously I am better than Allen. All that hype that I gave Allen, he did not show up. Allen, you got to show up this week and prove me wrong. So the next one is Ohio at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a tough one against Virginia. Man, it was ended up not winning that game. Kenny Pickett is obviously a big time quarterback there, and AJ Davis did not do very well against Virginia last week. But I expect them to rebound. I'm going with Pitt. They're giving 5.5 points to Ohio, but I'm going to go with Pitt to rebound.
Yeah, I'm taking Pitt as well. I'm going to do something I normally don't do, and that's bet on Kenny Pickett. I really never know what to get from him for sure, but I think Pittsburgh's going to rebound and take down Ohio. So I'm taking the 5.5, or I'm going to give Pittsburgh minus 5.5. I'm taking them all the way.
All right. So then coming in, this was an interesting one. Number 21, Syracuse at Maryland. Maryland's actually giving 2 because, I mean, they had a huge game over the weekend. Syracuse not so good against Liberty and the coach that was coaching from a hospital bed, which is just ridiculous. I wasn't impressed by Tommy DeVito. Who you got there?
I'm taking Syracuse. I was a believer in them before the beginning of the season. But, obviously, like you said, they didn't have the greatest of games the other day. They can put up some points sometimes, so I'm hoping they're going to kind of get that rolling. And I took Syracuse +2.
Syracuse +2. I'm actually going to go with Maryland. I've gotten so much flack from Syracuse fans about, Tommy DeVito, the next big thing. You Clemson fans better watch out. And I just want to see I just can't wait to just see Maryland just take it to them, knock them out of the top 25. It's not good for the ACC, but we're ACC fans. We're Clemson fans. We're not ACC fans, unlike some other conferences out there. So I'm going Maryland. Give me them -2. And it's Travis Lee said, thanks for the shout out. He is a 1987 grad. So Timothy Lee saying 1987 grad. So thank you for the support, Timothy. I'm not going to tell you what year I was born, but it was around that time. Then we got Old Dominion at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech giving 28.5 points. What do you think for there?
I'm actually taking Old Dominion +28.5.
Ooh,
here.
okay.
Old Dominion can, kind of be that team that sneaks up on you every now and then. They did it to a team, was it last year? It may have been Virginia Tech for all I remember. They beat somebody they weren't supposed to beat. But I'm taking them. Virginia Tech, I've never been a huge believer in these past few years. They always seem to be overhyped, and I'm taking Old Dominion +28.5.
Last week I did so well with my big time spreads that I'm gonna go with it again. I'm taking Virginia Tech to have a rebound game, and after losing to Boston College, I think they're gonna beat up Old Dominion because they're mad about it, and I give me Virginia Tech. The next one's Western Carolina at NC State. The spread is off on that. I'm taking NC State. I'm taking the better team. Any offs?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. I'm taking NC State as well.
Next one up, South Florida at Georgia Tech. A game Clemson just played against. Georgia Tech is -5.5 to giving 5.5 to South Florida. What do you think there?
I'm taking Georgia Tech minus the 5.5. I thought they showed some things that we weren't ready for, so I'm pretty sure they're going to show some things that South Florida's not ready for. I'm going to have them in a rebound game cover the 5.5.
Michael Gilbert's just jumped over onto our YouTube. Michael, man, you jumping on our YouTube and our Facebook. I appreciate you joining. I'll make sure to watch out for your username there. So thank you for supporting us. And we just had another subscriber. It looks like Brandon Wizenant. Thank you for subscribing to the show and joining us in this journey to be the best Clemson sports show out there. One of the best. Up there with Pigskin Pete and all those other guys that we love to support as well. But the next one is Richmond. Well, let me give you that one. I'm taking Georgia Tech to rebound as well. A lot of ACC rebound games is my story of this weekend. Okay. Next one is Richmond at Boston College. Is off there. What you got there?
I have Boston College. They served me well last week. I thought they would win, and they did. They played a great game, and I have no doubt they'll do the same this weekend.
Clemson Carson said Justin Fuente is going to lose his job if they lose to Old Dominion again, so he cannot afford that, and I agree for sure. I'm taking Boston College as well. Go figure. I take the better team in the offs. UL Monroe at Florida State. This is a big one. What will happen with Florida State? Will they drink enough water in order to win this game? And can they drink enough water to win by more than 21 points? What you got, Al?
I actually have Florida State covering, as much as it pains me. I have them covering the 21 points. After last week, I checked the score a couple times. I was in the mountains as a lot of these games were going on. And so I saw them, up relatively big on Boise State for a while. And then the next thing I know, they ended up losing the game. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I thought they had it turned around. I thought Kendall Briles was, doing his job. And obviously the offense did pretty well, so it wasn't necessarily his fault. But, man, I'm pulling for a big rebound for Florida State, or at least as far as the spread's concerned this week. I'm taking a -21.
Okay, so you got Florida State. I got Florida State as well. They started the game off well. And I saw Twitter, man. Twitter went off. Florida State has found their offense. This is Florida State, their offensive year. They've got it. This is the Florida State that we're looking for. And then they didn't score in the third or fourth quarter. What happened to that Florida State offense that had returned? That's the problem with Twitter and media people over on Twitter. Every time somebody does something good, it's immediate like, oh, it's back. Oh, he's here. Oh, he's the next big thing. Stop it. Yeah. It's week 1. Stop. Yeah. It's week 0. You did it to Miami and Florida, week 0. You're doing it to Florida State, week 1. Stop. Just let him play. You're doing it to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts did not win the Heisman Trophy last night or Saturday night. Or what am I talking about? It's Sunday night, right? Jalen Hurts did not win the Heisman Trophy Sunday night. I'll get it right, Al. I get my days right. I got a calendar right here. And it's got CJ on it. CJ Spiller. But it's not this year, so it does mess me up. But yeah, so Florida State, I think they're going to rebound. That's the story of my picks this week. North Carolina A&T at Duke. It's off there. What you got?
Yeah, I'm taking Duke. I'm also taking Louisville versus Eastern Kentucky. Both of those are off. Like you said, anybody off, I'm taking the ACC teams in both those matchups.
Boom, all ACC, baby. Duke and Louisville for me, too. Miami at North Carolina. Big-time game here. Miami giving 5.5 points. Not something I was expecting there. I actually am taking Miami because I do feel like that I still don't know what kind of team North Carolina is after that crazy, ridiculous fourth down knee. Oh, ridiculous. Who does that? Yeah. Madden, I don't even think will let you do that. But Miami at North Carolina, Miami given 5.5. I am taking Miami there.
I'm taking Miami as well. I think they showed some pretty good stuff in week 1. Obviously, they didn't come out with a win. A couple of crazy plays, and North Carolina actually had, I don't want to say a decent game, but I mean they beat South Carolina, So I don't really understand my logic here, but I'm going with Miami. I think they're a more talented team overall. I think their defense is going to stop the Tar Heel offense, and they're gonna cover that 5.5 points.
Clemson Carson doesn't agree with us. He says that UNC is going to upset Miami, and he also says #support Will Muschamp. You got to support him because you're not going to shell out $18 million or $22 million or however much they have to shell out. Man, who wrote up that contract? That this guy, after this many years and so many mediocre seasons, still has that much. I mean, you're talking Dabo Swinney doesn't even make that much in 1 year, and that's his. It's crazy. What did you think? Somebody else was going to take him? Nobody wanted him in the first place. Why did you? Who did that? Who did that? Ray Tanner should be fired just for that contract.
I'll allow
it. All right. This is another one that's big time game. I feel like this is one I'm excited to watch because this is a Big 12 team versus an SEC team. This is our non-ACC teams matchup. This is our top 25 versus top 25 matchup. The only one looks like, other than the Clemson game, which we're going to get to next. LSU at Texas. What you got? LSU's giving 6 points. What you got?
Yep. I'm taking Texas plus the 6. I like the way Texas has looked. I don't like LSU's offense as much as everybody else seems to think they're kind of, coming around. I love their defense, but Texas, man, he was really slinging it around, even though obviously LSU had a good offensive day as well. But I'm taking Texas plus the points here.
All right, this is where we disagree because I'm believing in that LSU offense. I mean, he broke some records there, which, I guess if all you have done for the past 30 years is run the ball, then, it's kind of like Georgia Tech breaking records in passing. But I have a lot of friends that are LSU fans, a lot of them. I know that they have a really good defense, man. They have a stud in Stingley over on the cornerback position. We watched a lot of film on him during the spring, and I want LSU to continue to do well, to load up and build their confidence towards that game at Alabama, and I'm ready for LSU to beat Alabama. That was my prediction the beginning of the year, and so they cannot lose this game because it'll hurt their confidence. They have to be confident in their wins away from home, and so this is the start of that, and I'm going with LSU -6, and that wraps up our top week 2 picks from ACC and top 25. Did I miss one?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I want to throw one at you if you can do this on the fly here.
Whoa. All right, go ahead.
I was kind of hoping you might get this one or kind of, go over it. It's Michigan versus Army. I thought you might throw that in there for Army. I'm put right now, the spread that last I saw was Army plus 22.5. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that game.
Army plus 22.5. Give them to me. Go Black Knights. Go Army. Keep rolling, baby. I'm going with them. And that was another prediction, another genie wish I wanted in a previous episode. I got to have Army beating Michigan at home in the big house in Ann Arbor. It'd be amazing to just shove it to Jim Harbaugh. Ooh, excuse me. I'm getting a little excited, Al. I'm getting a little excited. I'm sorry. A lot of people got LSU, got Alabama, and got the Alabama boys quaking. So a lot of people are wanting to see LSU beat up Alabama as well. So they got to get past Texas first. Got to play that game in front of them first, and that's what we're going for. Thanks for that additional extra one. I forgot about Army, and we got to give our Army boys some love. As you know, I'm an Army vet, so supporting them. Hey, we got another subscriber over on YouTube. I guess people are liking to subscribe us. Jesse Lee has subscribed to the show. Appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you so much. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the show, stop what you're doing. Go subscribe to the show. Give us some love. Show us. We're trying to get to 500 right now. Our next goal is to try to get to 1,000, get to the super chat. Right now, we got 31 people. If you're one of those 31 and you're not in the chat and you're not subscribed, come on. This is a Clemson show just for Clemson fans with, high quality info because we spent hours on this. I don't have to beg you anymore. Just come on. Come on, give us just a little subscribe. Just down at the bottom. Okay, I'm done begging. I'm done begging. Al, what you got over on Facebook?
We had one more jump in. I got Jay Huller, my man Jay Huller. I call him Matthew at work, but apparently his real friends call him Jay, so I'll just start calling him Jay. But I hope he's still watching with us. We appreciate you jumping in there. But and I will see you tomorrow, my friend.
If you're not too exhausted from the show.
Oh, of course.
But that's the end of our college football week 2 picks. Let us know if you agree or disagree in the comments. And if you want to check up on us, we always put our replays after the show, usually on Thursdays or Fridays. I'll go through and edit everything and throw them up on YouTube and Facebook. Go check us out on Facebook. Go check us out on YouTube. And go check us out over on Twitter. Again, we are digital partners with The Roar, so you can check us out at theroar.radio website anytime to check out any of our replays. Chat is still popping. We've got 29 people over on YouTube, so I appreciate all the support, guys. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and let's get over to our final topic of the night, which is the Clemson versus Texas A&M Aggie preview and prediction. If you are wondering what happened to the phone calls, I guess after 15 minutes, if you don't have any callers, it cuts you out. So they cut me out, and I don't want to make a phone call while I'm on air. You'll hear all the ringing. I don't know, but we'll just leave it alone. You didn't get in. It's okay. My feelings aren't hurt. I won't be able to sleep tonight, but it's okay. I see you popping off in the chat, so I appreciate you for joining us in the chat. So Clemson versus Texas A&M. Al, I rewatched the Clemson game, as you know I always do. I rewatched the Texas versus Texas State, Texas A&M versus Texas State game. It's kind of hard to take anything from that game. 2 games that were very vanilla, but I think there were a few things that stuck out to me, and a lot of people in chat are already saying it. So one of the things that stuck out to me, we'll just kind of do different things that you think are going to be important, right? So I'll give you my first thing. For me, Kellen Mond is going to try to throw the ball deep on us as much as possible. He's going to kind of seem like a Tua Tagovailoa. I believe that their running game is not going to be what it used to be. And Corbin just does not scare me at all, and it shouldn't scare the Clemson defense at all in that running game. So I'm thinking that he's going to try to win with his arm. He's going to try to trick Kayvon Wallace and Tanner Muse and try to get behind the defense, which we know we struggle with at times, being too aggressive back there. So my first thing I'm looking for is Kellen Mond to try to throw all over us. Kind of like he did last year, where he was almost like a Connor Shaw reincarnate, just throwing it to everybody, going past everybody's fingertips to catch a touchdown is crazy. Just how many passes he got off in between defenders. Clemson was able to bring the win home from College Station. What do you think? What are some of your thoughts for the game?
Well, like you said, Kellen Mond, he played pretty well against Texas State. Again, it's Texas State. I get it. I understand that. But, he's a good-looking quarterback. He had a great game against us last year. A lot of luck involved in that game, but he still played well. He's going to be looking for revenge, of course. He's going to test our DBs, just like he said. I had that written down that they are going to be tested this week. Make no mistake about it. I think our defensive ends will have to be a little more active, and Xavier Thomas, as I spoke about before, a little more disciplined, and he will be, and he'll wreak havoc, I hope. If Mon wants to go deep, I'm hoping Thomas is going to meet him before he has a chance. I talked about cleaning up the kind of the little stuff, the missed tackles and the penalties, that kind of thing. And I don't have any reason to believe that's going to be a problem again this week. I think one of the big things, Trevor Lawrence is going to have to be 2018 Trevor Lawrence. Okay, he's going to have to be that guy. I have no doubt he will. Obviously he had a rough week. He did not do a good job week one. He, like we said, we telegraphed a lot of his throws. Maybe that's because the playbook was vanilla, and that's fine. Just a couple bad decisions, including the couple interceptions, but he's going to have that cleaned up. He's going to get his Heisman campaign back on track if Etienne doesn't run past it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got this game in a big environment, big games. He's been there before, and I'm sure he'll do good things.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has definitely got to turn around his performance from the Georgia Tech game, and I believe he will as well. A lot of people are worried, is it going to be a sophomore slump or not? I don't believe that. Think about it this way. Trevor Lawrence, I think, played 3 series last year, and a lot of Texas A&M fans seem to have forgotten that Trevor Lawrence did not even play most of that game, majority of that game, and he didn't get really that much of a chance. A lot of people say, well, Kelly Bryant won us that game. Kelly Bryant, one person did not win us that game, and we don't know what Trevor Lawrence would have done because he wasn't left in the game long enough. I believe if you look at the running back, if we talked about the quarterbacks with Mond, I think the running game, Corbin, like I said, doesn't really scare me when I watch him. I mean, it's Texas State, and he struggled on some of the plays. What worked for him is just running straight up the middle from the I formations. There was a lot of I formations that I saw, a lot of pistol formations, a lot of ace formations, a lot of only 2 wide receiver formations. So that's very interesting to me. I think that plays into Clemson's hands because I think the more that they can keep as many people in the box, the better they'll be. I believe that running up the middle might be kind of a concern right now. I'm curious to see how the Clemson defensive line is going to respond to that. I do believe that the defensive ends are the strength of Clemson. And, that defensive tackle position, or the interior of defensive line, is still got to prove us, got to show us what they can do with the experience in their game. So I'm curious to see how they respond to these really traditional formations. This is going to be something completely different than what they just saw. Even though it wasn't the triple option, it was very similar to a spread option. The quarterback did most of the running. Kellen Mond's going to try to run too, but their running game didn't do very good against very average or below average opponent last week. So I'm looking to see Clemson take advantage of, the lack of running game this year. They don't have that star running back anymore. So, and like I said, they play a lot out of the I formation. And I think with Isaiah Simmons and with Thomas and Henry on the outside kind of containing that, I think they can just kind of push everything to the inside and be successful there. And then I noticed in the red zone, they went to a read option kind of style and gave Mon the ball. Let Mon make the decision to give it to the running back or take it himself. I'm a little concerned with that, considering that that's something that Georgia Tech seemed to be successful with. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean they did, and I'm sure Mond. Like I said, Mond's a good quarterback. He played well. He's a big, strong guy. He can make those decisions. He's been in these types of games before. I'm sure he'll be able to show some stuff. I'm sure he'll get some yards and some touchdowns, but hopefully it's not as many as the Tigers for sure. I think the Clemson offensive coordinator is going to have to get a little more creative. I think they're going to have to open up the middle a little bit more, like that pass to Lay that the 20-yard over the middle. His, a lot of people want to, talk about his hands of stone, and he kind of looked like it on that play as well, but he brought it down. Hopefully he's going to be able to soften up those hands over the years because, I mean, this guy's he's got the length, he's got the athleticism, he's got the speed, he's got the ability to be a good tight end, to be a really good tight end. Soften up those hands a little bit, he'll be in good shape. But, I think Clemson's going to have to play a little bit cleaner game than they did week one, when we were talking about the penalties and stuff like that on the offensive line. But, this Aggie team is going to be hungry for revenge after they almost pulled an upset, and some believe they should have, with the pylon call and everything that happened in last year's game, even though the pylon call was correct. There's videos that came out that proved that they made the right call on that, and it should have been Clemson's ball. But I think they're going to be hungry. I mean, they've already had a couple players guarantee upsets and that kind of thing. You know how that goes. I mean, we've heard it all before, so hopefully the Tigers can shut them up and hard.
Oh, yeah, so let's get into our picks. But before we get into our picks, got a lot of chat. Timothy Lee is asking us who are our college football playoff picks. We actually went to ClemsonJunkies.com and gave you our picks. So go check out ClemsonJunkies.com. It's a good friend of our, Jason Priester, who also writes for Shaking the Southland. But I'll give you mine. It's Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Georgia. But Alabama, Georgia winning the SEC. So, 2 SEC teams. I know you're going to beat me up about it. Alan, who were your top 4?
Yeah. I had Clemson, Georgia, Oregon, and Alabama. And in fact, I had Oregon losing the opener to Auburn
Oh,
and going undefeated the rest of the way.
okay.
So, I think that's kind of the way it's going to shake out in the end. I think Georgia is going to win the ACC as well. I think Clemson's going to be playing Bama in the first round.
And people are asking, where are we? We are in the Clemson, or we're in the ESPN studios over here in Greenville. No, I am in Simpsonville at my house, and Alan is over in Anderson at his house. But we're all over. We're wherever you are. We come to you. So it's just magic of green screen, baby. So
That's
we try to make it look good for you. We hope that you enjoy our quality. We hope that you subscribe to our channel and like us over on Facebook. We're trying to get as many Facebook followers as we can get. We're trying to get as many YouTube subscribers as we can get. So if you're watching, if you're one of the 32 over on YouTube, go subscribe to us if you haven't already. Al, big time prediction here. I see a lot of people giving us their prediction. Give us your prediction right now, and I will read it out on air. But we've got Clemson giving 17.5 to a visiting Texas A&M team. Who do you got?
Well, I actually was going to bet the farm that Clemson covered the spread last year. I didn't really care what it was. I thought they were going to hammer Texas A&M. Obviously, it was a close game. I think Clemson's going to have to use the crowd noise. I think it's going to be a packed house, and hopefully it's going to be super loud this week. I think they're going to kind of feed off that, especially defensively in the beginning. But I think there's going to be some points scored in this game. And right now, I have kind of Texas A&M scoring late to make it a little closer than it should be. But I have Clemson 38, Texas A&M 31. So I'm taking the Aggies plus the 17.5, but Clemson to win.
Okay. All right. Clemson to win, Aggies to keep it within the spread. I'm still learning this whole against the spread stuff. I did not pick the score again this week. I'm just so bad at this. Just so bad. But I'm picking Clemson again. I'm going to keep my streak going, picking Clemson to beat the spread and beat the Aggies both on Saturday afternoon. So I'm excited for that Clemson game. I'm excited for the Tigers. Let us know. I'll read it out to you. We've got Clemson Carson saying 42-24 Clemson. R. White saying 36-21. I'm guessing Clemson. We got Prince saying Clemson 38-13. Ross is saying 27-24. You got anybody over on Facebook that's giving your picks?
I got to be honest with you. I don't think the chat is working over here on Facebook because we don't have a comment all night. We've got about 20 people watching. So I feel like something is going wrong with the chat because I'm sure these people are active. Nick Collin usually has a lot to say.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen anything over here.
What's going on, Nick? I know that you guys are wanting to chat away. Hey, if you want to chat and you're having some struggles over on Facebook, come over on YouTube and check us out. We got 32 people. Come join us. We're rocking it over here. Jesse Lee saying Clemson 49-20. And so a lot of people are picking Clemson. Prince is saying he's over in Simpsonville too. Hey, let's go to Culver's and get us a butter burger someday. And I hope you enjoyed the show. That's pretty much it. Like I said, we're gonna extend the show because of calls, but we didn't get any calls, so our call messed up. Let's see if we can get it. Anybody want to? Let's just try it, Al. You okay with just trying it?
Go for it.
All right. So I'm gonna log in here. You guys know I'm all about experimenting.
The master
and,
at work.
You'll probably hear this, but I'll mute myself.
Call-in Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your.
I did see, by the way, in the meantime, I saw David Stone get in. He joined us for our last segment. Okay, obviously he was making people a lot of money. They couldn't get here until the last segment. Well, we do appreciate them joining us. Trey Thomas, man, where have you been?
Welcome.
I saw you get in with us a few weeks now, so it's good to see you as well.
From the Call-in Studio web interface.
How's it going over there, Chief? You got it.
Oh man, hey Al, you did so good. I appreciate, man. You need a raise for getting me by while I am going into our call-in studios call-in line. Go check us out. Call in right now, 864-772-6674 or 864-772-MORG. Go call us right now. Give us a chance. Let's see what you got to say. If you want to kind of be brave and get out of the chat and come call us, we got a caller right now. That's what I'm talking about. Now, and I start begging, and here you go. So I practiced this with Audrey. What's up? I practiced this with Audrey last night, and there's a little bit of a delay, but we're going to try it. We'll see what happens. Hey, we're experimenting here. Currently screening. So what happens is when you call, it'll ask you for your name and why you want to call in, and then it'll tell you to hang on. So we got one caller. It's Bill Massey, and he's going to talk about the Clemson-Texas A&M game. Let's bring Bill over on. Bill, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you just fine today. I've enjoyed the show, both Alan and Morgan. You guys have been great. What I want to know is, we've had the guys who've guaranteed the win, and then they've come out and said that Kyle Field is such a noisy place to play. And I referenced back, and Morgan, you won't remember this, neither would you, but we played Notre Dame, who was number 1 in the country in 1978, and Dan Devine said that Clemson, that noise is no problem. They won the national title that year. The closest they came to getting beat was by the Clemson Tigers, who were lowly in that year, 21-17.
Just so
My
you know, we
question
can't hear
is,
it,
will the
Morgan.
bulletin board material
Okay, good.
and the talks about Clemson not being allowed, will that actually wind up biting them in the Batuski?
Morgan will recap.
Well, let me ask you this. People in the chat, could you hear that? I'm still experimenting with this, so let me know in YouTube and Facebook if you could hear Bill calling in. Basically, Bill is talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, basically Bill is talking about everybody's hearing it except for you, Al. What's going on, Al? I don't know. But so Al's over here just like questioning what in the world happened, but everybody heard him loud and clear. Basically, for me, when it comes to home field advantage, Clemson, especially this team has been through so much, and Dabo has prepared every single player to be ready for the game in front of him. He doesn't look ahead. They don't dwell on past mistakes. I think Dabo, man, he's just such a great coach at preparing them not only to be players, but to be, good men, and developing these young men into what they're going to be for the future. And so they obviously went into Kyle Field, and everybody talks about the 12th man. Nope. I think the 12th man is obviously, when you watch it on TV, it seems pretty intimidating. I know there's got to be something there, but I think this team is not one of those teams like a Notre Dame team where, remember, Kelly came out and his eyes were like big in the headlights. Like he didn't know what was going to happen and he looked like he wasn't ready. Or you got like Collins that last week saying, hey, we're going to go in there, we're going to be ready, we're going to be amped. And then that didn't work out for them either. I think there is a balance between being amped up and, not being ready. You got to be prepared enough, but you can't get over amped for the game. I know CJ Spiller mentioned this on the Tiger Tailgate show recently that he didn't get overhyped in the locker room. He just tried to stay calm, focus on what he had to do, kind of run through different play scenarios and different situations to try to prepare for the game coming in. So he wasn't one of those guys that just kind of jumped and busted up the locker room or anything. But I think a lot of teams, especially SEC teams, they underestimate that Clemson environment. Man, Death Valley can get so loud. Alan talked about this. One of his favorite games was that Miami triple overtime game that was like the loudest ever recorded, at least I think for the ACC, loudest ever recorded game. So a lot of people don't give Clemson that credit, and I think we even talked about the way that the stadium is shaped now with the way the west end zone is kind of enclosed. I think it increases that loudness, and I think that a lot of people don't. And this Texas A&M team, these guys, I don't remember last time Texas A&M. I think they came to Clemson back when we were in high school, Al, if I'm not mistaken. So this team has not been used to that most exciting 25 seconds, and I think that 12th man, that running down the hill, is such a shock to most teams. We're like, wow, I've seen this on TV, I've heard about it, but seeing it in person is like a shock to opponents, especially when this is an A&M team that's been here, but not this team. And so I think Jimbo Fisher's been there before, but Kellen Mond hasn't been there before. So I'm curious to see how he performs. But I think Jimbo understands he was able to coach up Jameis Winston, obviously. I think there is a concern for Kellen Mond. Alan, what do you think? Do you think that Texas A&M, even though they play at the 12th man over in Kyle Field, do you think that they're going to get shocked coming into Death Valley?
I don't necessarily expect them to be shocked, but I do anticipate it kind of affecting them a little bit. I mean, they talk about, well, we have the loudest fans in the country. We play at Kyle Field and all that kind of stuff. That's great, but where they're not screaming in your ear when you're trying to run plays on offense. Okay, when you're trying to change the plays and things like that, you're screaming at you, 80,000, 85,000 are screaming at the top of their lungs. It's different. It's flat out different. So I think they're going to make a couple of mistakes. Hopefully we can get a couple delay games. from the crowd if the crowd's as big and as loud as I hope they're going to be this weekend. I think it'll affect them some, but I mean, like I said, they've been here before. They understand. They've been in these types of environments, I guess, just to say before. So they understand the noise. But Clemson, we try to bring it to another level. I hope we prove that again this Saturday. But I think they're going to be affected a little bit. But in the end of the day, I think really it's just going to be about the game and the players on the field. I don't really think the noise is going to be make or break.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we just don't have a trendy name to call ourselves by. Death Valley, but it doesn't talk about a specific the crowd specifically. But but just the whole pageantry of it. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think the opposing players are in the locker room, or maybe they're kind of right outside the locker room. But as a fan, when you see those blue state trooper lights come around the corner and echo off the side of the stadium, and you just see the blue reflection everywhere of the state trooper lights, man, I just want to jump out of my skin, man. I'm so pumped and amped. When I watch it at home, I'm like running up and down the hallway, and my dog's like barking at me, like, what's going on? I just get so amped at the beginning of every game. I just love watching the Tigers run down the hill. I was a little surprised Dabo wasn't like, you would think Dabo coming into the first game of the season, he would be so amped at the top of the hill. He was like so calm. He rubbed the rock, pointed to the top, pointed to the sky like he always does, and then he just kind of looked forward and clapped a couple of times. I'm like, dude, if I was the coach, I would be losing it at the top of the hill.
I agree. I kind of feel the same way. But I mean, yeah, he's a pro. He's been there. He's done that before. He likes the calm approach. I used to like when they were jumping up and down and screaming and having to hold each other back at the top of the hill back in the old days. That was kind of my favorite for sure. But hey, as long as we're winning, I don't really care what they do at the top of the hill.
Well, Bill, thank you for being our test dummy over here. We know that Alan can't hear us just the way we have it set up, and I was afraid of that. But hopefully we did you well. I've never taken a phone call before, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure it out. But we appreciate the support, Bill, and calling in and giving us some content there. So you'll see it. We'll put the replay up of your call. So give you a little shout out over on Facebook. Got a lot of people still in our chat. 25 people watching over on Facebook. Prince is saying when those buses come around, he gets chills every time. Pigskin Pete says that he was at the Notre Dame game in the 15-foot of snow or not of rain. Not snow, it would be crazy, but he said the stadium. He said the stadium was shaking in 2015 is what he said, and then just a lot of people putting in some pretty good memories in there, talking about the Miami game as well. Have you got a pick? Marty Bruce said, have you got time to make a pick on the Charleston Southern versus South Carolina game? Well, I want to let you know, Marty, I know you've been saving up for this game. I know you were kind of worried about if you were going to be able to actually make a Carolina game, but right now on StubHub, they're going for the total price with surcharge, $4.35. If you go act now, we'll throw in an extra ticket for you to bring a friend of your choice. So just type in #morgue over on StubHub. No, I don't know. But the ticket prices have plummeted, and man, it was so funny to listen to Walt on Tuesday. Just all the callers that called in, just saying, Walt, I'm sorry. I apologize. You were right. We're never going to win 9 games. This team's going to barely win 5 games. We have a terrible quarterback. Our coach needs to be fired. Our AD needs to be fired. And I'll be honest with you, I liked it.
Of course, I do not.
One caller called in and said, couldn't happen to a better team. And
That's exactly
I agree.
right.
I agree. We love our Clemson Tigers, and that means that team in Columbia is not our favorite. But Clemson Carson said he'd love to go to the U of SC at Bama game. A lot of people before the season were saying that this was going to be a year where they were going to try to push it and take it to them at home because it was at home. I don't know how they're feeling about that game right now. I wonder if that's going to be one of those off games where the spread is like, forget it. It's 68 points, forget it. If the spread was like 50 points or 40 points, I think Clemson would be able to cover based on the past couple of games that they've played. But I'm excited to see the Tigers play. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the LSU game. I'm excited for the Clemson game. There was another game that I had up that I was kind of like, I'm the Miami North Carolina game. I'm excited about that. So there's a couple of games that, and I'm interested, not excited, but I'm interested in the Syracuse Maryland game. What about you, Al? Is there any ones that like stick out to you?
Yeah, well, I was really excited about the Army Michigan game until Army kind of, pulled a dud on me in week one. I was really disappointed in their performance
Wow.
for sure. But still, I thought they would hammer Rice. I thought they were going to beat them by 30 points or so. But I'm still kind of looking forward to that. Looking forward to, like you said, the Texas and LSU game for sure. Any chance that somebody gets to beat up on the SEC, I'm all for it. So I'll be pulling for Longhorns hard on that one. And I mean, let's be honest, it's all about the Tigers and the Aggies for me this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm not going to that game. Are you going to the game?
If it's a game in Death Valley, I will be there.
I knew that's what you would say. So go check out Alan. He's going to be standing by the Clemson Tiger statue for 3 hours to sign autographs Saturday.
Yeah.
So go check him out. He'll be there from 12 to 3, and then he's got to get in because you got to make sure you get in there early because of the metal detectors. How was the metal detectors? A lot of people were worried about that. Was it bad?
No, it was great. We actually we walked right through. I don't know if I've ever been in a line that short before. I mean, it was great. You just walked right through. It was very well done. So obviously they did their research a little bit on this one last year. Had to go through a little painstaking process. Obviously, I think our gate got hit 2 or 3 times randomly, which is kind of crazy. But it was a wonderful process. Let's see, we got there I think about 35 minutes before the game, walked right in.
Ross Fryer says the game next Saturday at Carolina, the game is free and autographs are $4.35. So, but autograph from who? That's the question. I threw that in there for you, But yeah, we're excited. Now, let me ask you this. So, when I went to the spring game, I noticed that there was a lot of metal gates and stuff and metal railing in the road, and I was worried, was that going to mess up the buses coming around? I guess they moved that because they had them all in the road and everything. I guess they moved that.
No, I didn't notice anything. They still got the buses over there and got them to the top of the hill. I mean, they made it into Death Valley, so I think they're good to go.
Well, again, I'm excited about the game. Man, I appreciate the love and support over in our chat on YouTube. We got 21 people still watching as the show ends. We don't have any more callers in, so we're going to end it and wrap it up for tonight so Alan can go get some beauty rest and be ready for this weekend. I hope you guys enjoy this weekend of college football. Week 2 is coming up, and we're excited about it. A big-time Clemson matchup, probably one of the best non-SEC versus ACC matchups this season. So we're going to be excited about it and can't wait to see Clemson. I've got Clemson beating the spread by over 17.5. Alan's got Clemson winning, but a little bit closer than that within the spread. So let us know, if you have anything before we go. Al, you got anything before we go?
I got nothing, man. If we stay on here much longer, my stomach is going to start picking up over the microphone. I don't want to do that. That wouldn't be any good. You
got to eat your little Big Mac before the show starts so you can be ready. I know you like the Happy Meal with the kids' toy, but just
right.
You fill yourself up with a Big Mac, you won't have an empty stomach towards the end of the show. It's only an hour and 20 minutes tonight, so we went a little bit longer. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next week again, trying to do some more calls and keep going with the show. I hope the audio was a little bit better. I noticed some people were saying that they enjoyed the audio. That's a big shout out to Pigskin Pete for helping me out with the audio. I really appreciate it, brother. I hope to get on your show and you to come on our show in the future. And I hope to see everyone again next week. And we'll see you, Tiger fans, as always, at the top of the hill.